We interrupt your standard Sunday to tell you that a 9-year-old has won a Formula One race. Yes, he's getting younger. In other news, I'm going to defend Lando Norris. All right? That is a big shock, everyone, but we're going to do it. Oh, and some race happened as well. This is VFL.
Yes, hello, welcome to VFL, welcome to the Chinese Grand Prix review. Just a quick one before we do start, because Phil hit an absolute bombshell a minute ago saying he's going to defend Lando Norris, so I personally can't wait for that. The other bombshell, breaking news that hit last night, so the F1 and the FIA have made the decision, obviously, to cancel both the Bahrain and Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. It's completely understandable. Safety has got to be paramount in, obviously, times like this. Phil said it a couple of weeks ago, and we reiterate that message every week. Our thoughts and prayers and whatever else go out to everybody who's affected by the conflict in the Middle East. And obviously, we just hope that everybody out there is remaining safe. But the bad news, from a sporting point of view, obviously there is more bad news, but from a Formula One point of view, is that both Bahrain and Saudi Arabia are cancelled. So there are no Grand Prix in April now. So nothing to watch whilst you're eating your Easter eggs, unfortunately. But again, thoughts go out to everybody affected in the Middle East. So where do you want to pick up with China?
Not the country. With China. Congratulations to Antonelli, firstly. He bossed that. And the fact that he's given everyone on the track a bit of a slapping was quite impressive to see. Let's just start with amazing drive, amazing result. What a talent he is, and what a talent all the youngsters are. You know, Behrman impressed again, like we said. Lindblad had a few offs, but still looked good. Colapinto.
I was gonna do driver of the day, and I was gonna bring up Franco Colapinto.
We'll move on to that in a bit then.
I just wanted to very briefly on Colapinto then. I thought that was a magnificently mature drive. There was a point at the end of the safety car where he sort of found himself in second place, and there was no... As a Ferrari fan, you must have panicked that you had to get past Colapinto. I know we've had this joke in previous years when the McLarens, for instance, found themselves behind him. And I thought, fair play to him, I thought he was incredibly mature. The Alpine looks pretty quick. I agree with you. I'm surprising myself to say fair play to Franco Colapinto, but I thought he did really well. And the biggest maybe surprise, well done to Williams.
Yes.
They got points.
In a car that is heavier than... I censored myself then.
Yeah.
Heavy.
I wondered what was coming. So fair play to Williams as well too. But one thing I will do, just going back to Antonelli, and I know he got driver of the day on the TV. We as VFL haven't given him driver of the day. We'll go on to that in a minute as to who we have given it to. But whilst we're on the subject of Mercedes, it's just, we said last week after Australia that Mercedes were here, Ferrari were probably just a little bit behind, and then there was everybody else. and then you've got Williams, Cadillac and Aston Martin, who may as well not bother at the minute. That Mercedes, it's so, and that's what I suppose, it's nothing. I'm not taking anything away from Kimi Antonelli. I suppose this seems a little bit unfair for what I'm about to say. I'm not taking anything away from him, but that car, I could win a race in that car at the moment. And I would be more overweight than the set thing you censored yourself from saying a minute ago. It's not a crit. Look, he has to. There are two cars at the minute that can win races, in my opinion, and he beat the other one, and that's all he's got to do at the minute to win a race. So fair play to him for that, and that came from out qualifying him and not getting caught up in all the other stuff that was happening in the fight with the Ferraris and blah blah blah. So that's where Antonelli deserves a bit of credit. But I think there are drivers who did better jobs in less machinery, which is where our driver of the day vote goes. We'll go on to that in a second. But Mercedes, again, the title of this episode is that Mercedes dominate.
And they did.
There's not really a great deal else you can say about it, is there?
Great battle between the two Ferraris. I'm not liking the Scarlet rules.
Before we get on to that, because the only thing I was going to... Sorry, I was just saying about fair play to Mercedes. The one thing that proves just how dominant that Mercedes is once George Russell got away from the two Ferraris, then he was gone and he let them two. And then to go back to what you were saying, the most exciting thing about the entire race easily was that Ferrari battle.
Which both drivers have said they enjoyed, which is a good sign because Leclerc had a bit of a rant after the sprint.
I loved his race engineer went, I'm glad.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but we can't keep up with them two. But yeah, no, at least you're having fun.
Yeah, well, as long as you had a good time, everything
like
else. I mean, there's a different tone to the Ferrari drivers at the moment. I think there's that. I'm happy that we're now fighting for podiums, but I'm frustrated that we can't get them ahead. I mean, Hamilton's post-race, I don't know if you just heard it. I've heard it whilst I was setting up. We've got a long way to come, but we've got a great platform. So there's promise.
And that's fair.
The one thing I will say slightly, because I'm going to move on from Ferrari in a minute. Surprise for everyone. I know I'm going to pick up the Lando Norris thing that I said I'm going to do.
Well, you want to talk about McLaren more than I do.
Well, it's more Lando, but I'll prove it in a minute. This just proves that Andy knows nothing about what's about to come out of my mouth, and I'm going to upset a lot of people. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with Ferrari. Ferrari were great, and it's great to see them up there. They seem to be able to race the Mercs for 10 laps. And the fact that we're missing Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, which are both power circuits, probably plays into Ferrari's hand in the championship. We'll see what Japan does. Japan, they should have a better chance because it's all corner, and I think
they're faster in the corners. I was thinking this, when we get to. I mean, I don't know if Mercedes have taken a step forward or Ferrari have taken a step back. I don't know why you'd take a step back, but it does very much appear that Mercedes is now another step away from the Ferrari. I would say based on this weekend.
I think it's pure power unit again still, though.
Yeah.
But let's see what Japan brings. I want to move on. China was boring. The sprint race was great. I'm going to go on to my rant now, and I'm going to upset people, and people are going to have a go at me, and I'm looking forward to it.
Let me get comfy.
Right. Last year, Lando Norris was accused of being a whiner when things didn't go his way. Okay? True? I think I actually accused him. Okay? They're all done. I've apologised. He's a world champion now. That brings me on to Captain Charisma himself. Okay? Right? Little Miss Invisible Man. Okay.
How could you find the time to criticise him when he's...
No. I've got everything to criticise him for. You go back to Australia, where Leclerc gave him a run for, a bit of a race. He turns around and said that Ferrari were defending too hard. That's not what we agreed. He goes on to say, you only got past me because I couldn't find my overtake mode. He goes on to tantruming about his front wing in qualifying. I mean, mate, you don't even need a front wing and you're going to beat most people this season anyway. Drop it. Okay? He stops on the track, by the way, a live racetrack during qualifying. Now, I thought that determined a penalty because didn't Hamilton get done for stopping to do a race start on an outlap once? But that's all okay. That's fine. Today,
is there an argument on that? Sorry, is that because the FIA have said that I'm only playing devil's advocate and I'm asking a genuine question. The FIA did say that they were going to relax some of the rules. I know that's a safety one and it's a live track, but they were going to relax some of the rules whilst teams got their heads around the new power, the new setup. So is that potentially why that's not been punished this year, but in years gone by it has been? I agree. It's a live racetrack, I agree. But just throwing out a thingy.
The race today, he had nothing good to say at all. He was just whining about everything. My tyres have gone. My rear tyres have gone. Honestly, listen, I've got a point.
2 hours later.
You got battered by a 7-year-old. Get over it, all right?
He was 9 at the start.
Well, he's got younger. Just accept that you're not very good, all right? And you've got no charisma and no personality. Moving on. The race is rubbish.
Is there just a very quick, serious question. We're only 2 races in.
Well, by the way, that's
the weird thing. Is this is no detriment to Kimi Antonelli, but is it embarrassing if George Russell doesn't win this world championship and Kimi Antonelli does, if the sort of playing field stays as it is?
Yes. He's been going on about how he wants to be the leader of a team for God knows how long. He's got his chance. It's George's to lose. Barring Ferrari, I don't know, gaining an extra 20 horsepower or something. Yeah, we don't know how development's going to go. We don't even know how McLaren races yet because they've not bothered turning up to the first two.
Well, we thought that China was cancelled. So
that's funny because Ferrari did last year.
Yeah. So the news came through that it was Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. We read China, so it's not fair. So the FIA should re-race that. Actually, no, don't. It wasn't fun. Don't re-race that. A couple of sorry, go on. If you, by the way, want to join the George Russell fan club, please send emails to phil@vfl.com.
No. This isn't a personal attack. What I'm saying is we're treating him differently, and I don't know why.
Yeah. And you can't even have the British argument because you did mention both Norris and Hamilton in that rant.
Call it what it is. A spade's a spade, and he's whinging because he's a whinger. That's what's happening at the moment. I don't care about whether he's a bit upset that someone beat him. Grow up.
On that note, anything else we want to pick up? One thing I will say from the Chinese Grand Prix weekend, you did mention it a minute ago. Sprints are fun. Now, I actually did enjoy the sprint. I have a question. What? The sprints are fun.
Have we just agreed that sprints are fun?
Well, the one we've had was fun.
Yeah.
I think one, because I have a question here, and I think it's a serious debate topic. After Australia, we were all very much thinking qualifying's gone rubbish, but the race is good, and that's what we want. We want more overtakes, we want more fun, racing. I think, bold statement now, we can no longer call this the pinnacle of motorsport. Based on today.
What is?
I don't know. Because my point being is that it's becoming a little bit fabricated in as much as all the stuff that they're bringing in with the new regulations, the overtake mode, the active aero, all this sort of stuff that we've got, the battery, it's making it fun. Don't get us wrong. From a fan point of view, I'm enjoying the fact that you saw Hamilton get Leclerc and then coming into the next corner because he'd used all his battery. Leclerc could just then get him back and it's allowing them to follow a lot more through sort of turns 1 to 7. Leclerc and Hamilton were right next to one another, and it makes it fun. The problem is it's like I say, it's almost, you said it, I think, after the Australian race, it's like creating something that's not actually there. And this isn't almost the pinnacle now. This is the new regulations have made it more fun. Great. But it's almost like you're watching a go-kart race. And it's clear, if you look at, certainly in qualifying, you look at it, we had the top two of the Mercedes a million miles away. The second two of the Ferraris, 500,000 miles away. Then you had the two McLarens, and obviously we didn't get to see them in the race, we know, but then sort of they're there. Then you've got almost the Alpines. By the way, Pierre Gasly has out-qualified Max Verstappen 3-0 this year. That's a point that I didn't think I'd see or say. But then you almost had like sort of a little bit of a collection where you've got the Alpines, the Red Bulls, the Hasses, and then you've probably got the Racing Bulls in there as well. And then you've got the rest. So there's such a huge gap that if that gap starts to get bridged, if the McLarens, the Red Bulls, the Alpines, whoever catch up to the top a little bit, and your Astons, your Cadillacs, they catch up, and we can get that a bit tighter, it's going to be so much fun. But I don't think it's the pinnacle. I don't think it's the pinnacle of motorsport, not in the current guise. And the question I've got is: are you, as an F1 fan, prepared to drop that moniker and call it that to make it more interesting? Because even though it wasn't an exciting race, that was a lot more interesting than, let's say, for instance, China 25 or some races we've had. I still think 26 is more interesting to watch than 25. That wasn't a great example of it, but I don't think it's the pinnacle of motorsport anymore.
Do you know when it is an old one for you? Do you know when wrestling got told to drop the sport moniker and it had to go to sports entertainment?
Yeah.
It feels a bit like that, doesn't it? I mean, there are much simpler ways of going about making racing better that will benefit the best drivers rather than the best teams, right? And it is a case of drop the downforce and drop all the silly bits. We've got Formula E if you want to be bored by cars whining like topers. All right. The fact that most F1 cars sound like a tumble dryer on top spin now is just, it's pathetic.
Yeah, it just sounds like your washing machine at the end of the cycle, doesn't it? When everything starts to go mental.
Yeah, it's at the end of its cycle, kind of, and you just want. I want the purest form, so I want big V8s, V10s, V12s again, synthetic fuel just to keep them trees happy, all right? and the grass skirts and things like
Phil's
that.
back on the trees.
No. So synthetic fuels, if you really want, make the tyres out of hemp. I don't care, but let's keep it simple. Let's drop aero. And yes, I know I'm a Ferrari fan, and Enzo said that aerodynamics were for people who didn't understand engines. But just keep it pure. Give them power and say, you're going to have to be careful in that corner, or you're going off the track.
Yeah. So that's the question then to everybody out there. Yeah. Is Formula One still the pinnacle of motorsport, or indeed is it just now fun? Which, fine, I'm happy to accept that. It's just we can't call this the best form of racing. I don't think. Well,
Le Mans is.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is something like a Le Mans. Maybe it's IndyCar. And so fair play to Kimi Antonelli, well done. I know we joke and it would have been interesting if Russell would have got past the Ferraris a little bit sooner. Would Russell have been able to put him on it or under anything? But I thought Kimi Antonelli managed that perfectly. Well done. Yeah. Interesting comment from Crofty at the end of the race, in case you heard it. Kimi Antonelli's dad has been with him through the entirety of his career. I think he might have been with him a little bit longer than that, Crofty. But yeah, so well done to Kimi Antonelli. Well done to the Ferraris for giving us a little bit of excitement because it was fun. Well done to Franco Colapinto for behaving. Oh, and another bit of admin. We've had to abandon Lance Stroll crash count because he doesn't last in a race long enough to actually have a crash. And for the time that he is in the race, that Aston Martin is so bad it's not near anybody to have a crash with. So so there's that. Fair play to Williams, obviously, as we said, for getting themselves on the scoreboard, and fair play to McLaren for giving everybody else a chance after the last couple of years of dominating. It's very nice of us to do so. My bold prediction for the next race is that Oscar Piastri will complete a racing lap.
Well, sorry, brutal comment of the weekend to go along with Crofty's
Rachel Brooks.
Brilliant. Oh my God!
Yeah,
you got further than last
time. I thought that's a bit harsh. I mean, she's not wrong, but I was a bit like, bloody hell, Rachel. And I mean, calm down. The guy's having a bad year as it is anyway. Like, let's not kick him whilst he's down.
I've heard from the Piastri camp, by the way, he's going to attempt the formation lap next week.
Hey, he did no, he didn't. No, he didn't. You're right. He got to the grid this time. He got the worst thing, the bad thing from Piastri's point of view is that he's actually still not had a chance really to learn what these cars are.
No.
In a race, I mean, you had the sprint obviously yesterday, but so yeah. Anyway, a bit of other admin then. Anthony Phil.
Round one, fight.
Yeah. 2-0 now to me. Because George Russell, I'm going to ask you for two bits on Ant v Phil. So I'm going to ask you I'm going to change the rules a little bit, and I'll explain why. So who do you actually think will win in Japan?
Probably George.
Yeah, and see, my prediction for Japan is probably going to be George too, because I genuinely think it's going to be a little bit of a trickier track than sort of today was, and I think that might catch Antonelli out a little bit with his inexperience and the fact that he's 5 years old. So I would go George too. So yeah. So my new rule is that you can not pick either a Mercedes or a Ferrari because it's getting slightly boring with them four just in the top four. So you have to pick someone else who is going to do better than everybody else.
Ollie Behrman.
And that leads me on nicely to the fact that Ollie Behrman was driver of the day for VFL, driver of the day today. I thought it was brilliant in fifth. And there was a part of me that did want the Ferraris to wipe each other out so that he could get on the podium. Not as a dig to you. I just thought it would have been nice for Ollie Behrman to get a podium.
Who got further than you?
To be fair. I mean, what's more frustrating is Aston Martin got further than us today, and they famously can't finish a race, and they got further than us. Okay, sorry, Mark. So you've gone Ollie Behrman. I am going to go with. I'm going to go Gasly. I think that Alpine's sneaky.
Isn't that funny how we've both ruled out Red Bull?
Yeah, they look like they're going very backwards. I mean, Verstappen is a good shout for Japan, to be fair. So for Ant v Phil next week, new rule applied: no Mercedes, no Ferrari. So I am going to go with Pierre Gasly. Phil is going to go with Ollie Behrman. However, we do both, as an actual prediction, as a real prediction, we do both think that George Russell's actually going to win the race, and that isn't going to be a massive surprise to anybody. Okay, so have you got any other business that you want to quickly cover off? Driver of the day, Behrman. Ant v Phil is done. Race was pretty boring. Ferrari were interesting to watch. Anything else?
No.
No? Same. Okay,
Sorry.
we will see. Yeah, we will. Also, just another one. Hit that like, comment, hit that subscribe, comment. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for us. Get your notifications on and drop some comments below for us, because I do have a question. We now have found out this morning that we have April off from a Formula One perspective. So let us know in the comments what you want us to discuss in that period. We'll obviously have some Phil Explains coming up through that period, but let us know if there's anything particularly you want us to get our heads together and discuss. I do have a couple of ideas, so keep notified on the channel. We will keep going even though Formula One isn't. There is no conflict stopping us. And on that note, we will see you next week. There is no Grand Prix. We've got 2 weeks until Japan, but we will see you next week where we will discuss something. I'm not going to give you a teaser because I don't have a clue.